I know you've been critical of Silicon Valley in the past. After their blowout quarters, though, their record growth, is that a good thing for America?
Well, it's a reflection of the last 10 or 20 years of investment, R&D, intellectual property. So it's manifesting itself right now. We'll see what the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years look like, which I think will be different. But technology takes time to develop, time to ship, time to be adopted by consumers, and time to turn into revenue and monetization. You're seeing the monetization phase, extremely impressively right now.
Okay, so what do the next 20, 30, 40 years look like? They feel invincible at the moment.
Well, generally speaking, technology across the globe will dictate the future of the world. But I believe the headquarters of the companies, the employees of the companies will be more fragmented. They'll be distributed in Berlin, they'll be distributed in New York, they'll be in Miami. They're not going to be headquartered in Silicon Valley. They're even really not headquartered in Silicon Valley right now. I mean, Amazon, Microsoft are not in Silicon Valley. They've never been in Silicon Valley. So 2 of the 4 most important tech companies have never been in Silicon Valley. So let's not overstate the value of California.
Keith, I wonder, when do you think viewers should expect to start noticing a Jassy effect? Or is the relationship between Jassy and Bezos so symbiotic that it'll be hard to notice?
That's a great question. I don't really know the answer. I don't know if anybody at Amazon actually knows the answer. Because when you still have an executive chairman looking over your shoulder, the degrees of freedom you have to do things differently, to change things, are pretty constrained. The Apple transformation was different because unfortunately Steve Jobs died, but at least Tim didn't have someone looking over his shoulder. And I think so it'll take years probably to see a pronounced effect.
Keith, Amazon wins the union vote, hikes pay, crushes earnings. You see all of these strong results across these big technology companies. Does this bode well for them, or does it play into the argument that they're just too big for some people's taste?
Well, I don't see having Amazon having any impact on what I do. If anything, I'm looking for investing in the future of retail, the future of cloud computing. I think people way overrate the effect that Amazon has in the future of technology. There's nothing that's deterring us at Founders Fund from investing in entrepreneurs who have better ideas and better ways of doing things. And Amazon really can't stop that.
So what do you think of what the EU is doing with Apple right now, kind of pushing on the side of Spotify, arguing that what Apple's doing with the App Store, charging competitors that 30%, is anti-competitive? So often regulators, by the time they identify a problem and crack down on it, somebody's innovated around it anyway. Is this going to slow things down? Does it matter?
Well, the EU's been silly, with respect to competition law for 30 years. This is just a classic example. There's a reason why, entrepreneurs have historically not built impressive companies in Europe. It's because the EU and other regulators there just get in the way of innovating on behalf of society. I used to be an antitrust lawyer back in the 90s. This is totally ridiculous, but it's not the first time that the European Union has been ridiculous using competition law as a political wedge. I saw they're going to try to ban the use of Bayesian theorem, which will be really interesting for the future of Europe if they do that. I saw some data recently that 10 years ago, there was probably about 20 important technology companies in Europe. And today there's probably 3. All the rest have either moved to the West or moved to China. And that's the future of Europe if they keep regulating like this.
Keith, did I hear you correctly? You're not worried about Amazon?
I'm not worried about Amazon. It doesn't affect anything I do on a daily basis. It doesn't affect the investments we make. Sorry, go ahead.
Keith, what about in the fintech space? So I know that you have a lot of investments there, and it's long been building a quiet presence in financial services. Its payments technology is really seen as being on the cutting edge. It's about to roll out new technology to Whole Food stores, potentially license it out, whether that's that Just Walk Out or Palm technology. That doesn't, make you think twice?
No. PayPal's still doing pretty well. Square's doing well. Stripe's doing phenomenally well. Affirm's doing quite well. And these are just the companies that I've invested in.